Once upon a time, there was a princess named Princess Petunia. She was sharp, determined, courageous, and possibly a touch melodramatic. She loved to read. She read stories about other princesses like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella. These princesses were all saved by handsome princes on white horses and then ran off into the sunset to live in big, beautiful castles. Princess Petunia loved the sun and sunsets. This must be what it means to be a princess. I want to run off into the sunset and live in a castle. I should be rescued by a prince too, she thought to herself. The princess went out and found the highest tower in her neighborhood, climbed up, and waited. When she heard a prince was in her neighborhood, she cried, save me, prince!" The handsome prince, on a white horse, galloped up to the tower. "I will save you, princess," he said. The princess was so excited that she didn't even wait for the prince. She jumped out of the tower and onto the back of the horse. "Oh, prince, you have saved me. Thank you. Now, ride off into the sunset and let's go get a castle." The prince was somewhat confused, but nonetheless proud of himself for rescuing a beautiful princess. As the prince starts riding towards the sunset, a wisp of curly mist rises out of the pocket of the princess's dress. The mist curls around the princess and lovingly grabs her and pulls her from the back of the horse. Hanging from mid-air, the princess frantically reaches out, trying to stay on the horse. She doesn't understand what is happening. Then, the mist turns into the shape of a hand and gives the white horse a flick on his butt with her finger and thumb, sending the prince off into the sunset. The princess falls to the ground on her belly in a temper tantrum. She cries and pounds her fists into the ground. Then she rolls over, sits on her bum, elbow on knee, chin in hand with resignation, and scowls as she blows a curl that falls into her face. But she gets up and decides to wait for another prince. While she waits, she walks. She is content to look at birds, smell the flowers, and jump into puddles. Time passes. Then, off in the distance, she sees another prince coming. Quickly, she gets some rope and ties herself up. Once tied up, she hops over to a set of train tracks and dramatically throws herself across them. Remembering the fairy tales she has read, she pulls out her notes and mumbles to herself, "Damsel in distress. I must be a damsel in distress." Just then, the prince arrives. "Oh, prince, save me, feigns the princess. "I will save you, princess," says the prince. But first, the prince checks his teeth in the reflection of his sword and smooths his hair. He must look his best to save a beautiful princess. While the prince is distracted, admiring himself, the princess gets impatient, and she wriggles out of the ropes. As the prince turns, ready to rescue the princess, she jumps into his arms. "Oh, prince, you have saved me." The prince effortlessly throws the princess onto the back of the horse. "Yes, princess, I have saved you. Now," she says, "run off into the sunset and let's go get a castle," says the princess. Just then, the purple mist appears out of the princess's pocket. Again, the princess is pulled off the horse, and the prince and his horse are flicked off into the sunset. The princess is furious the prince has gotten away again. She yells at him, "Come back! You're supposed to save me!" "What kind of prince are you anyway?" she mumbles to herself. But the prince does not hear. He is long gone. The mist disappears into the pocket of the princess. Again, the princess has a temper tantrum, falls on the ground, and sobs. "Where is my prince? How will I ever get to see the sunset and live in a big, beautiful castle. But again, the princess quickly recovers and decides she will wait for yet another prince. While she waits, she walks. She is content to look at birds, smell the flowers, and jump into puddles. Time passes. One day she learns another prince is coming. She goes to the house of King Kong and knocks on the door. "Hello, I need a favor, please," says the princess to King Kong. King Kong agrees. Then one day, while out for a walk, minding her own business, the princess hears the sound of horses' hooves. She gives a big whistle, and King Kong comes running just as a prince arrives. King Kong grabs Princess Petunia by her waist and pounds his chest. The princess feigns distress. "Oh, prince, save me, save me!" The prince sees the princess in distress and rides over to save her. "I will save you, princess," he says as he pulls out his long sword. King Kong roars, startling the white horse, almost throwing off the prince. The prince gets his foot stuck in the stirrups, and he struggles to free it. At the sight of the sword, King Kong gets scared, drops the act, and drops the princess. "I'm out of here," he says. The princess gives King Kong a dirty look as he shrugs and runs away. Then she looks desperately at the prince, who has been distracted by getting stuck in the stirrups. Relieved the prince has not noticed that King Kong is a fake, the princess swoons and falls into his arms. "Oh, prince, you have saved me." The prince is baffled by how the princess has landed in his arms, but decides, yes, he has saved her. He throws her onto the back of the horse and begins to ride away. "Now, we can run off into the sunset and go live in a big, beautiful castle," says the princess from the back of the horse. But this time, the princess holds on for dear life. She is not going to get thrown from the horse again. But again, the purple mist appears from the pocket of the princess. She can sense that something is around her. She smells her armpits, then sniffs the air like a dog on the scent of something. What is it? What is that thing? But again, the princess is pulled off and yanked from the back of the horse. The princess howls, "No!" and is plopped onto the ground as the prince gallops away. The princess scrambles to her feet. This time, she's not giving up without a fight. "Oh, no, you don't. Not this time. God damn it," says the princess. "I don't understand what the problem is. I'm a princess, aka damsel in distress, and you are a prince. You are supposed to save me. What the fuck? What kind of prince are you anyway? Haven't you read the books? Seen the movies? You know how this goes. I am sick of this shit." Just when the princess thinks she's finally gotten her prince, the mist appears from the pocket with a pair of scissors. It takes the scissors and cuts the horse's tail loose. The horse howls, but is glad to be free of the princess. The princess falls forward into the mud as the horse gallops off. "No! No! No!" She looks up at the sky and cries, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I get a prince and a castle and a goddamn sunset?" Eventually, though, she stops crying, gets up, covered in mud. The sky clouds over, and it begins to rain. She falls limp under a tree and goes to sleep. The next morning, the princess, still sad, begrudgingly gets up. She looks around and sees that she's still in the same life. "God damn my life," she says to herself. "I'm going to build my own castle, and it will be bigger and better than any prince's castle," says the princess. The princess, who has never even hung a shelf on a wall on her own, gets about the business of building a castle. How hard can it be? The princess is determined, but it turns out building a castle is hard work, she soon learns. Try as she might, she is not very good at building castles. That's it. Who am I kidding? She says to herself. I don't know how to build a castle. Princess Petunia decides she will not build a castle after all. This sucks, thought the princess. What will I do now? To pass the time, the princess plays Jenga with the unused bricks. She makes snow angels in the wet concrete. She lays about and Googles how to get a castle without a prince and podcasts for castle-less princesses. She scrolls Amazon for books about how to be a princess without a castle. She takes a nap under a big tree. While she is napping, she dreams of a beautiful woman in a purple dress with long, flowing hair. The woman takes the princess by the hand and into the castle. Once inside the castle, the woman in the purple dress takes Princess Petunia to a large gold-rimmed mirror. Princess Petunia looks in the mirror. She sees the reflection of the woman in the purple dress and her own reflection. But instead of her princess dress and crown, she is wearing the dress and the crown of a queen. The princess smiles at the reflection she sees. Then the princess wakes up from her nap. What a strange dream, thought the princess to herself. That day, the princess decides to take a walk to the nearest village. She enters the village and sees the social club for princesses. She goes in and sees 3 princesses sitting at the table. Hello, says one of the princesses. Would you like to join us? The princess is delighted to meet new friends and pulls up a chair. Maybe you can help me, says the princess to her new friends. I'm trying to find a prince on a white horse so we can run off into the sunset and live in a big castle. The princesses look at her and each other. One princess asks, why do you want a prince and a castle? So I can live happily ever after, just like in the fairy tales, says the princess. Well, began one princess, castles are very big and cold and take forever to clean. Yes, agreed another princess. If you get a castle, you'll also need a moat, and then you'll need a drawbridge. Drawbridges are constantly getting stuck and in need of repair, and drawbridge repairmen are almost impossible to find and very expensive. Oh, said the princess. Our castle came with a dragon, said the third princess. Try picking up dragon shit from your neighbor's yard with one of those compostable poop bags. Fuck that. And we must have gone through 6 mail carriers. She sighs and shudders, remembering. Ugh, poor guy, disfigured for life, thanks to my dragon. Princess number 1 pipes in, and don't get me started about that white horse, dumb as a sack of hammers. Huh, thinks the princess as she sips her cool water. It's true. Without a prince, I won't need a TV room, a games room, or a man cave. I won't need a barn for the white horse, and I certainly do not want to clean up after a dragon. But most of all, I hate being cold. Don't forget, said one of the princesses, princes are great, and girlfriends are great too. There isn't anything a princess can't do with the help of friends. She thanked her new friends. On the way home, the princess thought about her conversation. That's when it hit her. She had been so busy looking for a prince so she could get her castle and sunset that she forgot she was a princess And princesses become motherfucking queens. Just like in her dream. There are so many wonderful things that princesses can do. The princess decided she needed a new plan. Not something from a fairy tale, but something of her own. She set to work. And after some time of working very hard, her plan was done. She decided to buy her own home. Not a castle, but a condo on the beach, with no white horse, no being saved, and no riding off into sunsets. Just sunsets, friends, and wine. And this was just fine with the little princess. As she sat on her deck, watching the sun slip behind the horizon, she thought to herself, now I will live happily ever after. Until one day, to be continued.